Okay, so now we'll go to the next program. So this program is a little complicated. We will come back to this later. I'll give you one simple program here. Now have a look at this program now. This is the previous program only what you have taken. You remember?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
But one difference, if you observe, there is OK here.
Yes, sir.
Very good. I told you in the last class that the self can be replaced by OK. So wherever there is self, I have put OK, correct? Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
But you should ensure that this has to be the first argument, first parameter of a constructor function. It is OK, comma, name, comma, salary. It cannot be name, comma, salary, comma, OK. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Now from here to here, the program is the same, but I have added some extra lines of code here. This much I have added extra lines. Can you see that? So what I have done now?
Yes, sir.
Employee one dot name is equal to Suresh. Employee one dot salary is equal to 10,000. Then I am telling employee one dot display employee. Now what is the meaning of this? See here, first we will go line by line. What happens? EMP1 object is created. You know, when the object is created, constructor is formed, constructor is called. So this Balu will enter into name. This 20,000 will enter into salary. So that name and salary becomes initiated to name and salary of EMP1. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Similarly, for this employee 2, the name and salary will be initiated as Kiran and 5,000. Then I am displaying the employee status. EMP1.display employee means it will basically display the value of EMP1, that is Balu and 20,000. So that is being displayed here. First output. Then EMP2.display employee Kiran 5,000. This much you know. And it will also display the total number of employees, which is 2. Now what I am doing, I am giving one statement. EMP1.name is equal to Suresh. Now this is very, very important. So what I am doing is, I am changing the value of name to Suresh.
Yeah, then Balu will replace.
So that Balu will be changed to
Suresh.
and the salary will be changed to 10,000. Now when I say EMP1.display employee, it will display Suresh and 10,000.
10,000.
This is called modifying the object properties. So did you not modify the object property now? Modification means what? Making changes.
Changes, yeah.
So now here for object, what are the properties of the object? The properties of the object are name and salary. Which are the objects? EMP1 and EMP2. What are the values of EMP1 and EMP2? For EMP1, name is Balu and salary is 20,000. Now I am modifying that name to Suresh and salary to 10,000. So the old value will be replaced with the new value. Okay. So like this, what happens? You can modify the object properties. Now, when do we require this? See, for example, let us say that you have a property called mobile number. You are opening a bank account. So when you open an account, yesterday I gave you an example. Whenever you open an account, the user himself is an object, correct? So all the properties will be initialized, like name and your account number, everything will be initialized, correct? Tomorrow what happens? Your mobile number will change.
Yeah.
So when your mobile number changes, so what should happen? For your object, for your name, mobile number has to change. Then we have to initiate this particular command. That is emp1 dot name is equal to Suresh I've given. No? So there you can say account holder dot mobile is equal to new mobile number. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is the meaning of modifying the object properties. So take down those 3 lines. You need not take down the entire program, take down only those 3 lines.
Yeah, awesome.
Over? All of you have finished this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now we'll go to the next program. We will see how to delete objects. Okay? Now, one thing you have to understand, see here, I will just copy this program into Word, it will be easy for you. So this is the program. So there is something called as object scope. This is a new term I'm introducing. What is it called? Object scope.
Object scope.
Now, what is the meaning of an object scope? Object scope is till what extent the object is needed. So you can just write down till what extent the object is needed in the program. It's called as object scope. Okay, you must have not understood this. I will give you an example now. See, this is a program which basically has one class called person. So in this person class, I have got 2 methods. One is called show data and one is called show child, which you already know. Now what I have done here is, I have created one object called man of the person class. Is this clear?
Yeah.
Using this man object, I am calling this method show data. Similarly, I am creating an object called child of this person class. Using this child object, I am calling show child. So till here you are clear. Now what is the meaning of an object scope? Just read this statement. Till what extent the object is needed in the program. So first we will examine one by one object. So there are 2 objects in this program. One is called man and the second one is called child. Now once we say man.showData, after the execution of this particular statement, man.showData, is the man object used anywhere in the program?
No.
No. That means the scope of the object is over. Why? Because now man object is useless there, because that program is not having any code which basically involves man object. Understood? So what we can do, we can simply say there del man. That means delete of the man object. Understood? Now why do you need to do this? What is the idea of deleting an object? See, I gave you an example yesterday.
Sir, how many to delete, sir?
Huh?
Sir,
Sorry?
after output or before output it will delete?
After output. It has already shown, no? Man.showData, it has given you the output, no? See, if you delete it here, it will not show you the output. Suppose if you say delete man here, then you created the object and you deleted it off. Understood? So So then man.showData does not have any meaning at all. So when you say man is equal to person, means object is created. When you say man.showData, using the man object, you are calling the showData method. Now I'll say delete man. So why are you doing? I told you in the program, see, this is not possible in C. See, for example, let us say that you have written on program in C. I will just give you one example. Hash include everything. I'll relate to C. You will understand. stdio.h. Then I'll say void main. Integer a is equal to 10. B is equal to 20. Sum is equal to. So what I do, I will say sum is equal to a plus b. I will say printf percentage t sum, and I will close this particular program. Now what I will do here is I will create one more variable, integer c comma t comma e. So I'll say c is equal to 20, t is equal to 100, e is equal to 0. Now what I will do here, I will say e is equal to c plus d printf percentage d e. So that is small e actually. Okay, so here it is taken as big E. Okay, now you observe this program. So what is the value of A?
10.
10. B is equal to 20. Sum is equal to 0. Then what is the value of C? 20. D is equal to 100. E is equal to 0. Now when I say sum is equal to A plus B, it will add 10 and 20 and store the value in sum. So that 0 will be replaced by 30. So 30 output will be. After this printf statement, is there a requirement of variable A, variable B, and variable sum in the program?
No.
No.
There no. But what happens, even though it is not required, these variables are created in the random access memory, so they remain in the program even though they are not required. So unnecessarily it will occupy memory space. Understood? So now, in order to avoid that, what we do is we delete off the variables. Here in C, it is not possible to delete the variables because once I have given printf percentage b sum, output it would have given. So what will be output? It will be the output as 30, which means that it has added 10 and 20 and it has given me the output as 30. So no need of A, no need of B, no need of C. But I would need C, D, and E because that is the new variables. Right now, similarly, in this program, if you can see, man is equal to person man.showData, child is equal to person child.showData. After this showData method, this man object is not required, and after this showChild method, child object is not required. So what I will do, I will simply say delete child. What I will do, I will say delete child. So child object is deleted. Now, simply for your purpose, I am giving this command child.showChild. It says child is not defined. Why? Because I have already deleted the child. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Got the concept, no?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay. Now, this is very, very, very important. Now, where do we use this? See, now you are, let us say that you will log into this website www.irctc.com. When you log in, you will give username and you will give password. So let us think that username is Gopal and password is 007. So now what happens? One object will be created. And what is the name of the object? Gopal. Right? So the constructor function will be called. So what Gopal will do? He will book a train ticket from, say, Howrah to Bangalore. So he will make the payment, everything. Now he wants to log out. Even after logging out, should that server keep the object there in that RAM? Because the work is done. See, like this, there are so many people who are logging in. I am also logging in. So my object, my name object will be created. Somebody else will be logging in. They also, their objects will be created. So if 100 people logs in to IRCTC, 100 objects will be created there. And each object is doing, it is calling its own method and it is doing its own function. Now, once the job is completed, what is the necessity to keep the object in the random access memory? So I have to remove the object, correct?
Yes, sir.
So to do that, we will use the command L. Understood? If you don't do this, what happens? Your random access memory space is limited. It is not like hard disk. Its space is very limited. You keep on putting objects and objects and objects in RAM. Even after the work is complete, if the objects are not removed, then what will happen? Your server will become slow.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, you will have to shut down the server and restart the server. If you shut down the server, then the website will become down. Understood? No? So that is the reason what we basically do is we delete the object. So why do we delete the object? To delete the object, one second. You can delete the object by using the del keyword. Now, once you delete the object, you cannot use that object anymore. See, for example, in this particular slide, you have understood, you have created an object called man, you have created an object called child. Now you are deleting of the child. After deleting the child, you cannot use that object once again. If I say child.showChild, that is if I call this method, showChild method from the child object, it gives me this error. It says that child is not defined. So if you want to call this showChild from child once again you have to say child is equal to person. Then you have to say child.showChild. So you have to create the object once again. Understood?
Yes.
So object properties can be modified, objects can be created, and objects can be deleted in object-oriented programming. First concept you saw, how to create an object. Second concept you saw, how to give values to an object automatically using a constructor function. Third concept you saw, after creating the object, how can I modify the properties of the object? Fourth concept you saw, how to delete the object.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Right? So all these are some of the properties in relevance to object-oriented programming of Python. Aisha, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. So now, why do we need to delete the object? We need to delete the object because the memory has to be flushed. So you delete the object when the scope of the object is completed. Okay. Now, in other programming languages like you have Java. In Java also there is something called as automatic garbage collection. It's a feature in Java. You don't have to delete the object. Java automatically deletes the object. Then yesterday I was telling you there is something called as a destructor. You remember? What is constructor? Opposite to that is called what? Destructor.
Destructor.
So what is a destructor? A destructor is something which will destroy the object. A constructor is something which will construct the object. Now when you say del child, child is being destroyed. When you say child is equal to person, child is being created. Correct? Constructor is nothing but del in Python. Understood?
Yes, sir.
These are some of the interview questions which generally they ask. What is a constructor? What is a destructor? What are the various functions on an object? If they ask you what are the various functions on an object, so you can say that objects can be created and the object's values can be initialized using a constructor function. Then the object properties can be modified and the object can be deleted. So if they ask you why objects have to be deleted, you should say that if objects are not deleted, it will unnecessarily occupy space, which is not actually a good programming technique. See, there are 5-6 objects in this program. How many objects are there? 2 objects. If you don't delete also, it does not matter. But when I'm writing a program for a banking application, 1 or 2 users are not logging into that application. At one point of time, there will be thousands of users logging in. I call it as hits per second. What is it called? Hits, HITS. This is how I measure. See, for example, you measure speed, velocity, sound, and all. No. So internet, for servers, I call it as number of hits per second. If 100 users logs in 1 second, that means 100 objects are created. These 100 objects will be doing different things. One will be searching for trains, one will be booking the ticket, one will be checking for the PNR status, one will be actually trying to send an SMS because he has not got the ticket, one will be cancelling the ticket. But once the job is complete, that particular object should be removed. If you don't remove, that 100 objects remains there only. Another 100 will join. Another 100 will join. Another 100 will join. Like this, what happens? Every second, the number of objects are simply getting accumulated. It is like this. 6 of you go to a multiplex cinema to watch a cinema. After watching the cinema, will you stay in the cinema hall or will you come out? You stay in cinema hall only. Where is the space for others to enter inside? So once your job is complete, you have to come out, correct? So that you make space for others. That is the actual intention of using a destructor function or del. Are you clear with this concept, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, like energy, man. What is this, you people? You're not understanding, huh?
Yeah,
Understand, sir.
Okay, now we will take down this program. I'll tell you what it is. Over.
Over, sir.
Yes, sir.
Over, sir.
See now, just understand this program. Now here, you have a class called, there are two classes in this particular program. One is called a person class and the second one is called an employee class.
Mm.
Can you see that? Now, the major difference here is in the person class, I have defined few functions or methods.
Two function.
But in the employee class, I have not defined anything. I have kept it blank. Nothing is there. Simply I have defined that there is a class called employee, but nothing is there inside that. So I have created objects of person class. One is a man object and second one is a child object. Now when you run this program, Python will give me an error. What error it gives? It says class definitions cannot be empty. Understood?
Yeah.
Now you may ask me the question, when there is nothing in the class, what is the necessary to simply write it? You just ignore, no? You can't do that. See, as a programmer, sometimes you know what happens. When you are writing a program, you will first know that you will get something in mind that I need to have a class called employee, I need to have a class called person, I need to have a class called inventory. You will get these ideas in mind. So when you get these ideas in mind, it means that you have only got the class name as ideas, but you have not got what methods are there in that particular class. So what you will do, I will write class employee. Okay, I will leave it blank. Then I will say class inventory. I will leave it blank. Then I will say class person. So in class person, what I will do, I will declare two methods. Define, say, show data. This is one method, show underscore data. So some implementation. Then I will say define show result. This is one more method. So some implementation of this. Now I have left these two blank. So what happens? Python will give an error. So in order to avoid this, what I will do, instead of simply leaving it blank, I will give a command called pass. So when I give a command called pass, what happens? So Python knows that that class is empty and the user will actually, what he will do, he will fill the details later. Understood?
Yes.
So now what you are doing, say you are doing class employee and you are putting pass. Now when I put pass, this error won't come. Class definitions cannot be empty, error won't come. So when you get some idea what you do, you remove this pass and you start writing the methods in that particular employee class.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, this is the meaning of pass statement. That is, if you for some reason have a class definition with no content, put it in the pass statement to avoid getting an error. Okay, so when do we see what generally happens in software development? I will tell you. So when you are doing a data science project, actually one person will not do the entire project. There will be so many people working. So you will have one team in Bangalore. You will have one more team sitting in Hyderabad. You will have one more team sitting in some other country. All the programmers sit together and write the code. After writing the code, we integrate it. In our employee class, for example, Gopal is a programmer who is actually given the responsibility to write all the methods of an employee class. Whereas you have one more person by name Aritra, he is somewhere in Australia. He is actually responsible for writing all the methods of the inventory class. What Gopal will do, he will simply define a class called inventory and put pass. Then what Aritra does, he will send an email, my program is complete. Then what he will do, he will take that particular function and implement in this program. Understood? That's how it happens. So always remember that programming is not one-man effort. It actually, basically, it will be done by multiple people, and each and every person will have his own responsibility of doing it. So this is the meaning of pass statement in Python. So if they ask you what is a pass statement is used to avoid empty class definitions. What is it called? Used to avoid empty class
Empty class definition.
definitions. Empty class definitions. Okay, so these are some of the tricks which you need to know, and always know that one thing you should all know that in any project, whether it's a data science project or a web technology project, any project you take computer science, people think that project means only writing lines and lines of code. It is not so. That is the misconception everybody has got. So in project, if you see the efforts, coding is only 8% or 9%, that's all. Remaining 92% of the efforts is put somewhere else. 92% of the efforts involves in collection of data, cleaning of data, then understanding the data, then talking to the customer, asking him what exactly he wants, then designing the class diagrams, designing the ER diagrams, identifying the table structure, identifying the attributes, naming the attributes, organizing the attributes, setting up the relationship, all these things you have seen now. So all these things to 92% of efforts. After all these things is completed, then only you come to coding. So it is like this. You want to design a circuit. First, what you do, you first have to identify what should be the output of the circuit. Then what you do, you basically draw the circuit diagram. In the circuit diagram, you will identify what components to go where. What will be the what do you call that ratings of those component? Which ohm resistor, which ohm capacitor, which IC, which LED, where I should short, where I should not short, where is the grounding, how much current I should give. All these things you'll first make a clear-cut diagram. After all these things, then only you will procure the component and put it in the soldering machine. Use the soldering machine to actually assemble it. Correct? So for that effort is coding. That's all. But all these efforts of first of all, designing a circuit itself is the challenging task. I am giving you one input. I want one output. So for that, I have to design a circuit. What circuit I need to design? Whether I should use a diode or a triode or an operation amplifier, you should decide that. No, that is what is actual logic. Once the logic is known, anybody who is an ITI in electronics also, if he sees that particular PCB diagram, he can convert the diagram into a circuit board. Correct? So, programmer's job is not that tough. But once you go from programmer to a design engineer, where he will ask you to, he will design that actual coding, no? So that design document, if you have to make, then you'll have to really use your brains. Now, what happens in if you go to a job as a data scientist don't think that day one they'll give you one computer, laptop, install PyCharm, Python, and give you and say, okay, come on, get me this code. No, they'll not do like that because you have no experience. See, you know Python. I'm not telling no, but you don't know how to implement Python for a problem. So somebody has given you a problem, a customer has given a problem. For that problem, your team manager or a project manager has identified a solution on how to solve that problem. So he will give you one diagram. The diagram is called as a high level diagram. So something like a flow chart. Now you will read that particular flow chart and then what you do, you will convert that particular diagram into Python code. That's all. Understood?
Yes, sir.
So you don't have to be scared. Only thing is, but you should know correctly the syntax of Python. If in the diagram, if it is written that this class has to be defined, another class has to be inherited from this particular class, you should know how exactly. See, I'll show you one example also if you want. So you will get a fair idea. Just I'll show once in Google Meet. Here. See, this is called as a class diagram. Now, whatever you see here, no, all these boxes, all these are classes. Now, this diagram will be given to you. See here, this diagram will be given to you. Now, what you have to do, you have to convert this diagram into code. This is the diagram. It has got two sections. So this diagram will be given to you. So what you have to do is you have to convert this diagram into code. Understood? So when you do the diagram, the name also is given. I don't know whether it is visible to you or not. The name also is given here. You have to use the same name. The name of the class. Suppose if the name of the class is given as shopping cart, S is capital of shopping and C is capital in cart. You have to use like that only. Now you cannot change the name because this is a document which is a standard document. Like how you have in your hybrids also, you will have standard documents, no? So you cannot violate that. The same document will be given in IT also. These document standards you have to follow. Even though if you think that this class diagram is wrong, see, as a programmer, sometimes you will know that there is something wrong in this design. You cannot, even though you think it is wrong, you cannot take your decision. You have to implement it. Then you have to raise one ticket. It's called an escalation ticket. And you have to raise it to the team manager explaining why that particular diagram is wrong. Then there will be a committee of people who will review it. That committee is called as the Change Control Board, CCB committee we say. So the CCB committee will see you and take your suggestions. Then they will say, yes, Gopal is right. There is something wrong in the design. We'll go and re-implement it. Then they'll change the design from version 1 to version 2. And then recirculate the design to everybody. And then after 4 months, HR will send an appreciation letter. Okay. So this is how it goes. So even though if you find that something is going wrong, you cannot take any decisions and change it. If he is asking you to code garbage, you have to code garbage only. That is why IT industries are so process oriented, highly process oriented. Everything is defined by upper level management. You as a programmer don't have any liberty to change anything. If they are telling you declare a variable called idiot, you declare the variable called idiot only. You cannot change. Understood? So know this. Why I told you all these things, because what is the importance of having a pass statement in Python? Okay, so we'll stop here. So tomorrow's class will be very interesting. We are going to start with inheritance. We'll see how to work on inheritance in Python.